let's hit a big game and where you can lock on.
Let's do it. This is a game that we've had a lot of attention on because it involves a squad who just fired its coach and brings in the interim, Mickey Joseph, to try to capture some of that emotional rebound. Like, hey, you guys have been awful, but it's all his fault. Let's get rid of him. You guys are still good. And on the other side, you've got Oklahoma and you've got Brent Venables and you got this offense. You got some firepower. It's a big game. I have 2 plays on this, not one, but 2. Although I shouldn't play.
No. 2-for-1 special. That's
2-for-1 special. Let's go. Last year we saw Gary Patterson with a statue in front of the stadium fired, just cast aside in a year where TCU was awful. Remember what happened the next week? It was Baylor that they surprise upset. They had lost 3 in a row. How are they going to beat Baylor? Beat Baylor at home. Team storms the field. This game's in Lincoln. I think you're going to see a ton of fans. But more importantly, with the breakdown itself, Oklahoma hasn't been tested yet. Nebraska's been tested every single game. Now, you could say, hey, well, they've started losing in these one-possession games. Well, guess what they all have in common? They are one-possession games. They're going to be close. I'm going to go ahead and take the Cornhuskers. I'm taking them with the 10.5. I think I could still get.
Oh, man. Is that where it is?
You can get 10.5 and you can get 10.
All right, I want 10.5.
You can get both, actually.
I only want 10.5 because I'm taking the underdog. I'm taking the Cornhuskers in this one. And I'm also on the over. Boy, under, going a little against the grain. That's why I wanted to save that one till later. But it is a 2-for-1 special. So I'm not worried at all about Oklahoma's offense. I think, Nebraska's defense has been a sieve. I mean, if Northwestern's able to put up some points against them, I'm still not sure about, and I know there's a mindset of Brent Venables, and I think the defense is better than it's been in years past. But Nebraska, think about if Scott Frost had anything to say in that offense, it probably would have been dialed back a little bit. Now you've got Mark Whipple taking over full control. Here you go. Here's your offense. Now he realizes, I'm probably coaching for another job. Next year, this whole coaching staff probably going to be cleaned out. He's going to want to put up numbers. I think they've got the capability to do that against this Oklahoma defense. And quietly, Anthony Grant, their running back, has gone for 101, 189, and 138 and 5 touchdowns. He's had really quietly a good year. We all been so focused on quarterback play in Nebraska's debacle. I think we're kind of forgetting what they are. So I think it's going to be more of a big.
Where he signed at, right?
Where did he sign?
Willie signed him in Tallahassee.
He did.
And they really wowed him that one spring practice. Then he had some problems and then had to go JUCO. And talent wise, he's a dude.
Yeah, I had forgot about that. So I'm on Nebraska as the dog, getting 10.5, and I'm on the over 66.5. I think is the number, the best.
Anybody else getting in on this game?
Yeah, let's fight.
Fight.
All right, so Oklahoma. Gosh, there's so many Oklahoma players on USC. It confuses me sometimes. Oklahoma is expected to get tackle Wanye Morris back for this game. I think Oklahoma is by far the best offense Nebraska has seen so far, and even offenses that I don't necessarily think are that good in Northwestern and Georgia Southern have dropped mid-30s to literally the 40s on the Cornhuskers. I think Oklahoma drops a 50 burger in Lincoln. I think this defense is just not going to get better. I don't think it's a motivational issue. I think Shenander for Nebraska is a hell of a coordinator. We praised this guy a lot last year. They don't have players. I don't think they can keep up. I think this is a game that Venables lets the offensive coordinator, Jeff Levy, just cook tempo-wise. And so, Danny, I agree with your look at over. But to me, I think Oklahoma's safeties on the back end, Billy Bowman especially, are really pretty good. I think they will limit Nebraska's explosive plays, get some wins in the red zone, and I think they win this thing by 20+ in Lincoln. I don't think Nebraska's going to play all that well.
Bad vibes. Don't want any part of it.
All right.
Could go either way, but I'm looking at this game and it feels like a.
Oh, and I can get 10 on that, by the way.
Yeah,
at 2 spots. Yeah,
it feels like a money line or alt line, where I'm either going to take Nebraska to win the game, because if it's close, I actually see Nebraska flipping that, because Oklahoma in a close game is going to go into don't lose, don't screw it up, don't embarrass yourselves mentality. And Oklahoma also, I think, could blow it open. So hard pass for me. All right, let's see. Tom, where would you like to go?
Let's go with one of the bigger games of the weekend. Miami, Texas A&M. Texas A&M's offense sucks. We know it sucks, but talked a lot about how it sucks on Saturday. And I think we talked about it again on Monday. I don't expect things are going to improve much. And the Miami offense, I think you guys talked about it yesterday in Sketch Week, like it's put up really good numbers, but it's done so against Florida A&M and Southern Miss. So it's one of those situations where it's like you don't really know how good it truly is. This is far and away the best defense it will have faced to this point. I also think we've seen it just in the history of his coaching tenure at Oregon in big games. Mario Cristobal tends to play things close to the vest, tends to get tight. He wants to keep things slow. I like the under here between the Hurricanes and the Aggies. As far as I know, the best number is 44.5, but I would love a higher one if you can
45. Get us a 45 out there.
I can't find a 45.
I mean, yeah, 100% in on that one. If I wouldn't hate trying to jump on maybe a Miami team total under too. You know, there's definitely a lot of different ways to approach this, a lot of different ways to attack it. I wish 45 was out there, but as soon as this thing came out, there's a lot of times where the notes that I make on Monday night when I'm going through the entire slate and writing down my picks, the number moves the other way. I'm like the opposite of CLV. And then I just have to dig in on bad numbers that I already liked on Monday night. But this is one where immediately, as soon as it came out, where I think it was 45 or 45.5, I was like, this thing's going to go under. So at 44.5, if that's the best thing we can get right now, this one screams playing real tight. Both coaches playing real tight late into a close and low scoring game.
I saw Latifa at the U.S. Open a lot. Give it to me.
Yes.
Yes.
Same reason you guys give, but I think this game has 24-17, like kind of all over it in favor of the Aggies. I think it's a big bounce back week for the Aggies. I am very curious to see how Miami physically stacks up in this game against Texas A&M. I think the worst thing that happened to Miami was that they did lose to App State. I think they'll be a little bit woken up. My goodness, if Jimbo loses this game, holy cow. There's already people looking up his buyouts and discovering that it's $85 million. Like, have fun with that. But I think Texas A&M gets back on track this week. So I'm going to lay the 5 as well with the Aggies as the under. A little 2-for-1 special.
Texas A&M might have to bench Haynes King to win this game, but if I see Haynes King get benched, I all of a sudden start to sweat a lot more. Anything that could be mixing up what I know, because what I know of Texas A&M's offense as it has performed so far is fantastic for the under. So
let's
oh, no way.
Oh yeah.
Infinity?
Play it.
The world is about to feel something that they never felt before.
To infinity and beyond.
Let y'all know.
If we know that we're gonna have an infinity coming up, by the way, we should get the boy. I gotta know, does he play with like a little Buzz Lightyear toy? Because I know Liam has one, and like I hear all these slogans all the time. Like we should have the kids announce an infinity one day if they're home, which he's not. He's at school, but I'm sure Miss Walker would let him skip. All right, so I bet this at open 48.5. I missed the 49. If you guys got the 49, I hate you. But 48.5, and I make this number in the 30s. I think that I actually wouldn't hate if Max Johnson plays this because I feel like he is more careful with the football. And to me, the way we lose this isn't both teams going off and suddenly figuring out how to score a lot of points. I think the way we lose this is turnovers, bad field position, that type of stuff, which Haynes King is prone to. But in the over 44, I got to hit this. So, yeah, it's a bet for me.
Love it.
Love to see the infinity on the board.
It's the first one, right, of the year?
Yes. Oh, yeah. And this game's probably ending as the instant reaction show is going on. So
our week will swing on this.
I'll probably just be pulling back into the crib from the UCF FAU game, which kicks off at 7:30. Get to catch the second half, hopefully.
Oh, what a great draw for you. Right?
Well, it would have been better. Well, yeah, home front. Yeah. It
Yeah,
would have been
that's-
better if UCF was 2-0. It'd be a little more interesting, but the fact they lost. But yeah, right down
but
the street.
I'm team Danny sleep hours. So
Yes, huge win.
That's what I'm going for with the huge win right there. Let's talk about what happens at that meeting at midfield. I'm not a head coach. I've never really been there, but I can certainly imagine what happens at that meeting at midfield, but between coaches. Well, hey, Shane, how's it going? Let's make sure nobody gets hurt today. All right, let's get out here. Nice, quick 3-hour game. All right. Okay, cool. Hey, good luck out there. Gentlemen, under. Georgia, South Carolina, 55. We're going under. This is going to be a position where at the very beginning of the game, a South Carolina offensive line that has not been able to block anybody, it will be extremely clear that they are not going to be able to block, I don't know, one of the better defenses in the entire country. And as that starts to unfold, we will also see Georgia, maybe not even worrying too much. Like, I think Georgia puts up a couple scores early, but then we see the air get taken out of the ball. We see, Kirby Smart and his staff put in a bunch of the backups. And there's so much respect, so much mutual respect between Kirby Smart and Shane Beamer that ultimately I think the clock just moves all through this second half. And we just see a crispy 3-hour game. Final score, something like 42-3, maybe a sad field goal so that Beamer can get the special teams some work out there after a third string running back ends up putting the ball on the ground with in scoring territory for the Gamecocks. And so much like we saw Kirby Smart and Will Muschamp play some gentlemanly games that were lower scoring, I think the same sort of principle applies here. Gentlemen's under in Georgia, South Carolina. We go under 55.
You just said it. Like, do you think the final score could be 42-3?
Yeah.
That's why I'm going with the South Carolina team total under 14.5, because I was considering taking Georgia laying the points. It was 24.5 last I checked. Just like the South Carolina offense, it's just not what I've seen of it has not been very impressive. And I think going up against this Georgia defense, I don't think it's going to be like suddenly flipping the switch and looking good. I just don't think the Gamecocks are going to be able to score a ton of points here, but at least this way, I don't have to worry about maybe Georgia, Stetson Bennett, the best quarterback in the country, going off for 4 or 5 touchdowns against them and blowing the game over or the under. So I'm just going to take South Carolina team total under 14.5.
Anybody else in on this game?
I got to use some discipline. I love where you're thinking. I want to hop on with you, but I already got a bunch of plays, so I'm going to stay off of it.
All right, Tom,
I'm a little worried though about this. Like,
the Rattler scrambling late touchdown that's what I would worry about.
I mean, look, part of this that scares me is intent, right? What is Shane Beamer's intent in this game? Is it to try to win the game? Because I don't think they can. South Carolina has a ton of defensive injuries. Kaba, the starting linebacker, is out. Strahan, the defensive end they got from Georgia State a couple years back, is out. They got 4 more guys who are kind of questionable, including Cam Smith, who's one of the best corners in the SEC. Mm-hmm. Like, if South Carolina's cool with just playing like a low scoring, please don't beat us by 40 type game, I think Kirby Smart would respond in kind, because Georgia has not maybe run the ball quite as dominantly as you would have wanted them to. And so they'd be like, yeah, South Carolina, your run defense sucks, as we saw with Arkansas. We'll work on our run game today. We'll win by 24 and a nice, comfortable, low scoring victory. But if South Carolina comes out and spreads the field and tries to chuck it a lot, they don't have the defense to hold Georgia. Like, Georgia will drop a 50 spot on them in this thing, that's the reason I'm not joining you guys, because I don't have the ability to judge Beamer's intent here. Like, is he trying not to get embarrassed, which he's a smart guy, image management matters, and he's very good at that, or is he actually trying to win the game? Because I don't think South Carolina can win the game, but we'll see if he does.